What do we want to build next? That's the question. Every day, when you have the most advanced tools, you want to make something with them. Something that helps. Helps safeguard our shores. Helps someone see through a wall of fire. Helps those nowhere near the right doctor stand a chance.
Vitals look good. Any loss of feeling in the extremities?
Technology can do that. It can take a sick kid to school.
Tell me the third life cycle stage of the frog.
Nathan.
Tadpole.
Tadpole without gills. Excellent job.
And help ensure a constant supply of clean energy. The things we build share one belief.
The rest is on the south side of the building.
That the world's biggest challenges deserve even bigger solutions. Powerful answers. Verizon.
Introducing the Chief Technology Officer of Verizon, Tony Melone.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much for that warm welcome. It's great to be here this morning. As you know, GENBAND has been a key partner of Verizon for many, many years. And I'm happy to be here to help kick off Perspective 2013. One thing Charlie talked earlier about golf yesterday, and I want to warn the folks that work for him that I got a funny feeling that you're going to be hearing a lot about his new putting technique. Trust me, our wives can attest to this. He was extremely talkative about that yesterday, so I think that's going to be a major topic of some of your staff meetings going forward. Hey, seriously, with all the dynamic changes that are taking place in the industry today, Charlie's sports video about defining moments, I really do believe that we are in a position in this industry to define our future. And what I'd like to do over the course of the next 30 minutes or so is talk to you about how Verizon is seeing that future and how we hope to shape that future. In the last few years, we have made tremendous strides in building out networks and platforms that bring information and computing to everyone and everything. And we truly believe in the power of technology and specifically how it can build a better future. And we have some of the sharpest minds working on solving some of the toughest challenges. Together with partners, many of which are in this room, we're looking to take on some of the societal challenges like healthcare, energy, public safety, as well as education. For instance, you saw in the video earlier, we helped create that wirelessly enabled robot that allows 6 children to physically, even though physically they can't be there, but in essence, physically be in that classroom and have the experience along with other students. And we're leveraging the disruptive power of technology to help transform healthcare and make the world more sustainable. And we're certainly helping to reinvent entertainment, and by creating state-of-the-art communications and infrastructure that delivers that superior experience that consumers want in their day-to-day lives. Now, the great thing about all this, and probably the most exciting thing about all this, is as technologists, we're probably underestimating what the future will be and how technology will shape that future. History has taught us that. Now, the one thing that at Verizon that we do anticipate, and we think we know is going to happen, is that regardless of the applications that are developed, those applications have to ride on an infrastructure that's secure, that's reliable, and that's available. And that's the vision at Verizon that we've invested in for many, many years. And it's what we're striving to deliver to our customers day in and day out. Now, over the last decade, we've led the industry by introducing new network technology that deliver that enhanced capacity and availability and security. And that intelligence is built from the core all the way out to the edge. So what I'd like to do is now talk more specifically about this vision and the investments we've made at Verizon. So at Verizon, when we talk about our company and our future, we really talk about building it around our 4 foundational platforms. Everything we do around the business, we think will be based on these 4 platforms. The first one, and the most dramatic in the sense of our business and the scale of our business today, is our wireless network, and our future is built around 4G LTE. We have a tremendous footprint, the largest in the United States, I believe still the largest in the world, 4G implementation. We cover over 90% of the US population, and some point in this year, we will match our 3G footprint with 4G. Speeds, we advertise 5 to 12 megabits per second. That's what we engineer for our loaded network. We're achieving speeds much greater than that today. As an industry, Verizon has really led the efforts here, and as a result, our competitors, AT&T and Sprint and T-Mobile, they're all pushing ahead as well. And as a result, 4G in the United States is far superior than any country in the world, and that was not the case with 3G. So we believe our leadership helped propel that in the US. The second foundational platform is our global IP backbone. And for us, that's all about scale and scope. Everything that's happening today is riding on IP, and it's very important for that reliability and the efficiency of that to come into play with everything we do. So that's our second big platform. The third, about 9 years ago, you heard about Fios, the first all-fiber to the home network, the largest scale fiber to the home network, and we've really driven that technology to the point now where our quantum service offers 300 megabits per second to consumers. And we definitely see in the not-too-distant future be able to provide customers with a gigabit per second to their home if they need it. And quite frankly, some of us question what can happen in a home to require that. But again, back to what I said earlier, we tend to always underestimate what technology can do and how consumers and businesses will utilize that technology. And then the fourth area, which is more recent for us, is our data center and cloud infrastructure. And we started building that through an acquisition of Digix years ago. And then with the Terramark acquisition and CloudSwitch, we're building that portfolio as the communications is moving from a point-to-point, from large enterprise data centers to more cloud environments. We wanted to be a part. We think that's a very important part of our portfolio. So let's go a little deeper in each of the 4. So you have to be under a rock to not see this trend. Everything in our lives today, we see mobile data just continuously increasing year over year at dramatic rates. In fact, I believe there's more mobile devices today in the world than people, and smartphones and tablets are outpacing sales of PCs. And quite frankly, what's most amazing is the power of the tablet and the smartphone. A couple of my key technical folks, they have this little game they're playing that no matter what application they think of, what use case they think of, they ask themselves, does the smartphone have the computing power to meet that need? And so far, they tell me they haven't thought of one thing that they haven't answered that question as a yes. That's pretty amazing stuff. So for wireless, what have we done? So, we have been wireless leaders, wireless data leaders for years. Actually, way back when I first left wireline to go to wireless almost 20 years ago, we introduced CDPD. You remember that blazing fast 19.2 kilobit per second service? Amazing where we've gone from there. But we were the first 3G nationwide network with EVDO. We pushed the envelope there. And clearly, our bold move to be very aggressive with 4G LTE really shaped the industry. As I said, it's the largest 4G LTE network in the world. And we built that network on 700 megahertz spectrum. Again, very aggressive in acquiring that spectrum, but we also went out and acquired AWS spectrum. And that's going to be put to use this year. That's the one thing that when I hear people talk, whether it's government officials or Department of Justice, talking about restricting Verizon or AT&T's ability to acquire more spectrum, we're putting that spectrum to use. We're spending $16 billion a year to build that spectrum. I could understand their argument if we were buying it and putting it on a shelf. Others can buy that spectrum and put it to use. Our aggressiveness has allowed us to shape this industry, and we're going to continue to be aggressive. We're going to continue to meet our customers' needs and demands. And if that means we need to go out and get more spectrum, that's exactly what we're going to do. Beyond AWS spectrum, then we'll obviously, as 3G service continues to wind down, we can refarm the spectrum that we use for 3G today. In addition to spectrum and capital dollars invested, there's lots of technologies that are going to help us meet this demand. You heard a lot about small cells. And small cells and the densification of our cell network will be an important piece. And who knows, someday, some people, Qualcomm thinks there might be a cell in everybody's home that can actually permeate out and serve the external community as well. Time will tell, but we can be sure that technology will help us get to where we need to be. And then, of course, the services on LTE, like VoLTE, like rich communication services, et cetera. We're going to be aggressive there, but we're also going to be smart. We're not going to launch it before it's ready. Building a nationwide voice-over IP network in a radio environment is not trivial. And when we do it, we want to make sure it meets the same high-quality standards as our current voice network. But you'll see that roll out at the end of this year, early next year. We'll be network ready this year. How we decide to roll it out is still being discussed within our marketing organization. Okay, so wireless gets a lot of the hype in terms of growth. And from a percentage growth standpoint, that's definitely the case. But in terms of raw magnitude, just the overall IP traffic in the backbone network is growing tremendously. And a big driver of that is video. Today, it's about 50% of the traffic on the global backbone network is video, and some suggest it will be as much as 90% in the not-too-distant future. So again, in order to support that, we have a number of things that we're doing within Verizon. And these things are based on, again, a rich history and legacy in this environment. Our heritage, within our heritage is the first commercial ISP in UUNet. The first long-haul SONET network was part of Verizon. And we're a leader in 100 gig ultra long-haul. We have 13,000 route miles today supporting 100 gig on a particular wavelength. Our global IP network is in 150 countries and 6 continents. And again, very important to have the scale and breadth in order to reach customers wherever they are, servers wherever they are, the most connected IP network. So if you get on our network and you need to get to any other place on the internet, regardless of what AS network they're on, we can get you there, and we can get you there in a minimal number of hops. And again, very important in this world, with the amount of volume going over these networks, and quite frankly, the increasing usage, it's critical that the cost per bit continue to go down. Scale and technology is critical to make that happen. And again, investing in infrastructure from companies like GENBAND, companies like Ericsson, Alcatel-Lucent, Cisco, and many others that are represented here, we're able to deliver those cost points that customers need. And quite frankly, the whole ecosystem needs to continue to flourish. Okay, the home is the next big area. And quite frankly, it feels like with everything that's going on in the home today, you need your own CIO to run your household. It's amazing. And if you have teenage kids in the home, you probably recognize that they think everything in that home is smart, from a TV to thermostats to refrigerators. The only thing in that home that's not smart is their parents. But that will change as the kids get older, as my wife and I can attest. We're smart again as they get out of those teen years, so there's hope. But within the home, we've done a number of things over the last 9 years when we launched Fios. Obviously, we believe it's the gold standard. Fiber all the way to the home, a passive optical network. It's the nation's largest. It covers 18 million homes. And we have roughly mid-30% penetration today. It's a little higher for data, about 34% on the video side. 150 HD channels, and again, as I spoke earlier, our broadband service called Quantum can take you to 75, 150, and now even 300 megabits per second to a home. That architecture supports on what we call a PON network, can support 2.5 gig down. That will eventually go up in the not too distant future to be able to get 40 gigabits per second down on one of these passive optical links that can serve 32, maybe 64 customers. And that's when you'll see our ability to provide a gigabit per second to a particular home. Some of the challenges, though, that are faced in the home is simplicity. When you think about all these low-power devices that you can buy, from alarm monitoring, whether it's controlling your thermostats, et cetera, all these smart devices, many of them come together with gateways, and they're very proprietary closed systems, and that's a challenge for consumers. And one of the things we're trying to do at Verizon is eliminate that challenge by creating, in our broadband home router, sophistication as a gateway to be able to recognize those low-power devices and seamlessly allow customers to purchase these devices, bring them into their home, and the gateway can recognize that instantaneously and connect them back to some cloud-based services. We think this is very important for consumers to adopt the amazing things that technology could bring if we simplified it. The other challenge in the home, quite frankly, is business models. And we talk a lot about IPTV and breaking the cable bundle or the Fios bundle and a la carte pricing. Technology is available. That 1 gigabit to the home or 500 megabits per the home can serve a lot of TVs with IP video at HD speeds. It's not a question of the technology. It's a question of, does the business model evolve to support that? And time will tell. But there are tremendous opportunities still for us with Fios. Number one is leveraging it for business services. We've traditionally looked at it as a consumer play, but now we're putting switched Ethernet service over that PON network. We're passing more businesses and providing business-level services, and again, enhancing the value we get out of that invested asset. And we're being very aggressive at migrating copper services off of the old plant and onto this Fios network. One thing that Hurricane Sandy taught us is when you're pushed, you can make a lot of things happen. And we're taking that learning and what we've done in accelerating that migration, and we're going to start applying that in places where the natural disasters don't trigger it. And again, it reduces our cost structure, and it gives our customers a much better experience. And then the fourth area, cloud. Again, probably one of the most used buzzwords in the last 3 or 4 years, but certainly we've seen lots of evidence that it is real. And growth continues here in cloud. And cloud can mean lots of different things to lots of different people. But for us, what it means is, our focus is on enterprises and the security that enterprises need, the robustness they need, the linkage between connecting their data to a secure cloud environment, and a breadth of services. If you want just space, we have that. If you want managed hosting, we have that. If you want managed applications, we have that. Or if you want to go fully to a cloud environment, we can do that as well. Our acquisition of CloudSwitch, again, gave us some software expertise to allow the migration of traffic from an enterprise cloud to a public cloud, and truly create that hybrid experience that I think the large enterprise customers and the CIOs, they really need to feel that comfort before they give their crown jewels over to somebody else in a more public environment. We also focused on HIPAA compliance, and so we have a cloud that specializes in that for the healthcare industry, as well as for the federal government. So we also believe at Verizon that in addition to these 4 foundational platforms, one of the most, just like the word implies with platform, you talk about building upon that. We have a vision that these platforms will enable ourselves to build on top of it, additional technology platforms and services, and also allow our partners to build on top of those platforms. And we believe this is really where the power comes into play for what we do in helping solve those big challenges out there in the world. And I think to illustrate it best, I'm going to show a video with one of our partners, NantHealth. Let's roll the video, please.
When you're first diagnosed, staying optimistic and searching for answers is everything.
If you don't work in a big city hospital, you don't always have access to the most current medical treatments and clinical studies. We have a lot of help. There are literally hundreds of types of cancers and thousands of types of treatments. A doctor really needs help finding the right options that fit patients' needs.
The oncologists now cannot keep up with this amazing amount of information being sent to them. They just cannot. So in order for the oncologist to know what's the cutting edge, best treatment, point of care in real time, he or she needs a tool.
Verizon and NantHealth are working together to try and transform technology in healthcare.
Doctor, can you tell me more about this clinical trial?
Yes.
They have created Evity to really provide doctors with the most current evidence-based information available. Evity basically has taken all this information, assessed the validity of that, and distilled it into a concise form.
Can you look at the protocol on the second page?
Doctors can quickly find treatment options and even find the doctors who are performing the most current research and care.
Verizon's major contribution to this is to provide scale and the reliability that's necessary to do the big analytics of medical information.
Utilizing the 4G LTE network, will be interconnecting every medical center, every cancer center, every community center, so they could have access to the supercomputer at their point of care. This created for us an amazing opportunity to find the right treatment at the right time, the right place.
We have some good options.
Okay.
If you want to move data from one place to another, the network is just the beginning. You need to make sure that it's secure and safe. With Verizon, we can do that.
I think you're perfect for this clinical trial.
It's a whole new system in the sense that for the first time we will be getting better access, better quality, lower cost, and advanced decision support.
Today's technology gives me options. Options and hope.
Because the world's biggest challenges deserve even bigger solutions.
Pretty impressive stuff, and I think what you've heard earlier from some of the speakers and here myself is about what we do is we really enable so much of what's possible out there with innovation. And I think as an industry, sometimes we sell ourselves short in terms of how instrumental we are for the things that have occurred over the last decade. And we will continue to be front and center on that, and I think we need to take that responsibility extremely seriously and make sure that we continue to establish that trust with consumers, with healthcare providers, et cetera, that the networks are reliable and trustworthy and secure, et cetera. Now, as you saw there, partnering is extremely important for us at Verizon, but there's a couple of areas that we thought, you know, they're close enough to home that we want to invest and we want to do more work internally to build upon those 4 foundations, and one of which is machine-to-machine. Again, we look at 40% growth over the next several years in machine-to-machine connection. 50 billion devices, I believe Cisco predicts, will be connected by 2020. And one of the things we did first is we acquired, with partnership with Qualcomm, a company called Enphase. And then we now own it 100%. And that's our foundation for our machine-to-machine management center. And the whole purpose of that platform is to make it easy for people to take non-traditional devices and connect them to the Verizon wireless network. It's all about controlling that device, onboarding that device, etc. Then beyond that, though, we acquired Used Telematics, the so-called moving up the stack. We felt that telematics was a very important application within the broader machine-to-machine context. And so we acquired Used and their platform and their people and technology to, again, build now a more vertical application that can work on Verizon wireless network, but all wireless networks. So this is a little different strategy here. And again, try to drive success along that vertical. And again, we can utilize that platform not just for telematics, not just for network fleet, which we're doing, but things like LifeComm, that the personal care, that personal assistant. There are many different extensible services we can provide on that platform. The next example I'd like to talk about in terms of an internal platform is around digital media services. I mean, you can imagine how much media, we talked about the 50% moving to 90% of video on the internet over the next few years. More and more of that video is being consumed, There's no longer YouTube. Well, that's still big, but more and more people are comfortable watching premium digital media over the internet. Now, to do that, to provide consumers that quality experience, the content creators, the digital media retailers, and the advertisers are facing some challenges. And those challenges, we felt, created an opportunity for Verizon to provide the kind of scale that this industry will need as we look forward to take that content and encode it and transform it in all the different formats that are needed with all the different devices, whether that's digital media is playing on your smartphone or your laptop or through an Xbox or PlayStation or these many smart TVs, etc., all require different encoding, languages and subtitles. You know, for every piece of content, you might have 40 or 50 different actual files that have to be transmitted to meet the vast majority of customer needs. People do that today, but do they do it at scale? Can they continue to evolve? Verizon feels that we are in a great position to do that for customers. And why do we think we're in a great position? Well, we have the IP backbone. We have the digital cloud, media cloud already with our FiOS requirements and with Redbox and what we're doing there. So it's building upon those internal talents that we have and extending those services to the broader content community. So we're excited about that. We've been in a trial phase for the last 6 months or so. We will launch in July, and we're very optimistic on what this will do for our business in the long term as well. So if we look at innovation in general, again, some of the things we want to do with partners, some of the things we want to do internally, the partnering piece requires us to put some effort in to allowing these partners to come in and test their ideas. You know, RF radio frequencies are difficult, and things that work in a wired environment may work very different in an RF environment. It's very important for people to design and test and build their product in an environment that mirrors the real world, and that's what we provide to them in our Innovation Center. And that's what helped create that wireless robot. We call it the Vigo. In addition to that, you have home healthcare monitors. You saw on the commercial about the public safety and first responders and the equipment that they have, able to get back vital information when they're at the scene and how important that is. These are all things that we're capable as a result of participating in our innovation program and utilizing the resources that we provide, including people and expertise. You know, NanHealth was a clear example of that. Now, all these examples illustrate that the power of integrated network platforms coupled with partners that can develop solutions that improve people's lives. And that's a big part of what this industry has done for many, many years, for decades, and one that I think will continue to do for years to come. At Verizon, we have always believed that innovation in networks is the foundation for growth across our company, but we also believe it's a foundation for growth across our industry. And our strength is really rested on us having the best and most reliable wireless networks, broadband networks, and global IP networks in the industry. And over the years, we have consistently invested our capital to reinforce that, to extend our lead, and maybe most importantly, to get ahead of the trends that are driving this phenomenal growth in our industry. Now, as I said, we also believe that technology platforms building on top of those four foundations that leverage everything we can bring will be instrumental in driving growth and innovation in the decades that come. And again, partnering will play a key role for us, but in the area of cloud and digital media and machine-to-machine telematics, those are three areas that we've decided to invest ourselves and focus internally. As an industry, we should continuously ask ourselves, how can technology improve the lives of our customers? How can it make businesses more efficient? And how can we solve some of the more pressing societal issues, such as healthcare and education, just to name two? As I hope you have seen through this presentation, Verizon's networks and platforms provide a great framework for addressing these challenges in new and powerful ways, and we're very excited about being part of the solutions that come. So I thank you very much for your time, and I hope you have a great rest of the conference. Thank you.